All right, good evening. That was loud. Okay, welcome to the Berlin Board of Education meeting. We're going to call this meeting to order at 7:04. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so the first agenda item, could we turn this mic down a little bit maybe? It's just very loud. The first agenda item this evening, we have a special recognition, celebration of the arts, so I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent.
Thank you very much, Julia. I'd like to ask our K-12 Fine Arts Coordinator, Tyler Boyle, to come forward to the podium. Thank you, Mr. Boyle.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we are so proud to recognize and celebrate our visual arts students for their outstanding work and their contributions to this year's District Art Exhibition at the New Britain Museum of American Art this past April. The exhibition showcased the incredible creativity, talent, and dedication of students from across our schools. This evening, we also honor those students whose artwork has been selected by our administrators for display in buildings throughout the district during this upcoming school year. Behind every piece is a story, an opportunity to imagine, plan, sketch, revise, and create. Each work represents not only artistic skill, but also perseverance, curiosity, and personal expression. This year, our students have continued to develop their ability to articulate their artistic process, further strengthening their creative practice and cultivating an artist's mindset. These skills allow them to demonstrate many of our Vision of a Graduate competencies while remaining authentic to their chosen art form. I encourage families and community members to take time after tonight's meeting to visit the gallery that we have on display in the lobby, and most importantly, ask our students about their work and their creative process. Their insights are just as impressive as the artwork itself. I think one of my favorite parts of my job is going into classrooms every single week across the district and talking to students about what they're doing in their music classrooms and their rehearsals and their art studios. And the responses that you get from students, particularly our younger students, are really, really quite something. So I do encourage you, it's not just something to go home and hang up on the fridge or something. Ask them the skill, what went into it. It's time, it's talent, and it's dedication. Again, congratulations to all of our student artists, and thank you for sharing your creativity with our community. So this evening, our administrators are going to come up one at a time and welcome the student that they selected to have their piece put on display across their district and give them a little special recognition. So we'll start things off in our slideshow. So I had the opportunity to peruse the gallery early in the day, and this piece immediately caught my eye by first grader Junior Cruz. Is Junior here from Griswold? Okay, so I love this piece, and I'll make sure that I swing by Griswold this week and give Junior a big high five and congratulations. I thought, what better way to celebrate the fine arts than a little bit of music and art all in one. So nice round of applause for Junior and his hard work here. All right, and if we could have Mr. Campbell come on up.
Hi, good evening. Can I please invite Olivia Vazchuk up here? Olivia is in second grade. So Olivia created this piece. It is a colored paper and oil pastel, and it is titled Peaceful Peak. And when I saw it, I really just kind of stopped for a moment, looked at it, and said, that's where I want to be right now. I love being outdoors. I love nature. It's got the bird and the clear blue sky. It's got the pond and the house. And interesting enough, I actually was camping one night last summer, and Olivia and her family were also there, and I just thought it was so fitting. Olivia, you really did a fantastic job, and I can picture being there just at peace. So great work.
All right, next I believe we'll have Mr. Souza come on up.
Congratulations to everyone this evening. Could I please have Miss Riley Burnham join me up here? So Riley's piece is titled Rainbow Lizard. It's tempera and permanent marker. And usually when we go early and we look at these pieces, you're picking one that somehow speaks to you either in its detail or simplicity or content. And this one piece that did something that no other piece ever has, and you may not be able to notice it while it's there, but the way that it's created is when you look at the lizard, it gives this 3D effect that the lizard is actually off the page. So much so that as people were walking by, I'm like, can you look at this for a minute? Like, am I seeing this right? Like, are you seeing that? So that immediately caught my eye, that type of detail. And Riley, I don't know if you were going for that or not, but what you created was absolutely memorable and something that draws your attention immediately to that beautiful artwork. The color scheme with the dots of the tempera is perfect, and that effect with the lizard is just immediately what made me say, that's the one. So outstanding job. Great job, sweetheart.
And Mr. Shiverini.
Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to all of this evening's honorees. I'd like to invite up second grader Mr. Gannon Ricker. So yeah, this is one of my favorite times of the year when we get to go down to the museum and pick a piece of art that really speaks to us. This piece for me was special because when I was a child, we had a snow globe that we brought out every year. And for me, it kind of represented that time when I saw it immediately. It just felt real to me. When you look at it, and if you zoom out with your vision, it really looks three-dimensional, like it's actually there, like you could reach out and touch it. And a lot of that for me was because of Gannon's effort to make things in the foreground and background, creating that three-dimensional effect. So to me, it's just a matter of creating something that represents a frozen moment in time. Very impressed with his artwork. Gannon tells me that this is representative of his own home and his love of snow and playing in the snow, and that is him and a snowman that he made. So it's a very special piece of artwork for him. So great job, Gannon. Here you go, buddy.
Mr. Sullivan.
All right, if we could please have 7th grader Dominic come on up. There you go. And as Dominic is coming up here, I'd like to thank Ms. Ripley and Mr. Holland for also representing McGee Fine Arts tonight. Thank you for your attendance. So this really spoke to me because it's about the small details that make a big difference. Every time that I walked by this particular piece, I would notice something new. Also about perspective, because if you zoom out, you see the hands, but if you zoom in, you notice a fine little detail each time that you look at it in a different way. So it means so much from this one piece, and I think that it is appropriately titled Hands as the big picture, but the small picture and everything that went into it obviously took a lot of time and effort. So Dominic, excellent work. Nice job. Here, Dominic.
Thank you. Mrs. Amenta from Berlin High School.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations to all of our student recipients. I would like to call up Magdalena Jacques. Is Magdalena here? Come on up, hon. As she's making her way up, I'd also like to give a special shout out to Mrs. Miller and Ms. Galasso in the back representing, for bringing all of their hard work and dedication to our students at Berlin High School. So Magdalena created this beautiful painting in her Painting 1 class, Spring Pond Landscape. And when I attended the New Britain Museum of the Arts that morning to make a selection, this one stood out to me. We kind of make a few rounds, go around, take a look at all the artwork, and I kept coming back to this piece, in particular because it reminded me of a personal landscape that I had in mind, a place that I've attended for about 10 years or so that I've stared at in content, in silence, and this scene almost looks exactly like that. So the colors, the reminder of spring rejuvenation was just beautiful, and I think your creativity and master of the light in this particular piece captures the true essence of this award. So congratulations. Okay, I have the honor of giving 2 awards. So is Carolyn Jin here this evening? Okay, she must not have made it, but I do want to just point out, so at Berlin High School, we offer an array of art classes. Our students are very fortunate to make those selections. So this is from a 3D Pottery 1 class, and as I was perusing the table of our 3D artwork, this one captured, mostly just because I love sushi, but when talking to Carolyn and I asked her what inspired it, she said she also loves sushi and she wanted to do something a little out of the ordinary. So the colors, I believe it's imitation crab and avocado. We kind of chuckled about that. But again, the creativity and just thinking outside the box and bringing something of her own passion to the art classroom was extraordinary. So congratulations to Carolyn.
And next we'll have our curriculum directors.
We're going to start with Ellie Dong. Ellie, come on up. Ellie is a student at Willard School, and when I picked out her piece, I really connected with it for several reasons. So one is anyone who's ever attended a meeting with me probably knows that I do all of those little black and white figures on my paper as I'm listening, and if I'm not doing that, I'm not listening to what anyone is saying, and so I connected with that. The other part that I absolutely loved is the colors. So we hang these in our offices, and this is going to just brighten my day every time that I see it. And so that was the other reason that I did that. So thank you so much for bringing that beautiful artwork to us. Congratulations.
I'd like to welcome up Julia Mullally. Julia from McGee Middle School, grade 7, right? Grade 7, wow. So Julia's peacock, I will tell you, I walk around when I do my selection probably 3 different times, as Lori can tell you, and hem and haw over what I want to pick. I swear every time I walked around that room at the art museum, that peacock was staring at me, and I had to go back and select it. So that was kind of one of the first things that just caught my attention. And I really feel like when this hangs in my office, he'll be keeping an eye on me, saying, make sure you're doing your work in there. I think the oil pastel that you used really gave that rich texture to the color, and that bold blue was amazing to me. So I really just thought the detail that you created was beautiful, just an overall amazing picture. And I did pick up a couple fun facts about peacocks. So one of them has to do with that eye that keeps looking at me. I did not know this. Peacocks have amazing vision. they can process visual information more than twice as fast as humans. So I thought that was pretty neat information as well. But thank you, you are an amazing artist, and I look forward to seeing what you produce when you're at Berlin High School. And this is, congratulations.
If I could have Kalina Baggiero come forward. So as I go to the museum each year, I often stand in the middle and just look for about 5 minutes and what catches my eye. And at first, I didn't see the word confident. And then I got a little closer, and then the detail and the shadowing that she used, and just the black and white colors and the random patterns, it looked like ribbons going through. And it just got more and more detailed. And the word, as closer you get, the word confident seemed to pop out at me. And I just stepped back and forward and said, this is just appealing to me. What I typically do at the Board of Ed is each year it hangs in the board, either a copy of it if you want the original, or the original. And it just speaks to what talked to me as I was at the museum. And your artwork here really touched me in a way. And I love the statement of being confident. I think that, I'm not sure what you were thinking when you do confident first and then around it, or I'm not sure how you did it, but I kept looking at the multi-layers, and it just kept attracting me. So that's why I picked Charlie. So congratulations and thank you for the fine job. So, thank you. One more round of applause for all of our artists, please. Next, we have some special announcements to give. So I'd like to be, and I'm honored to present, each year we have a Teacher of the Year for the entire district. We also have a Teacher Year for each building. So we have a committee of former Teachers of the Year and administrators that meet. And there's a process that we go through, and first you're selected as Teacher of the Year for the buildings, and then from there you can look for a Teacher Year for the district. This year I'm pleased to announce that Christopher Wisniewski, science teacher at Berlin High School, has been elected as the 2027 Teacher of the Year for Berlin Public Schools. Chris, if you come forward. Stay up here, okay? So now I get to read all these nice things about Chris. So, Chris earned his BS and his MS in biology and is currently enrolled in a doctoral program in educational leadership and policy studies with intermediate administrative certification, that's 092, at Southern Connecticut State University. He's been a teacher for 8 years and the last 7 in Berlin. Mr. Wisniewski prioritizes building an environment where students feel safe, challenged, valued, and capable. He believes that students learn best when classwork is authentic and when they feel a sense of ownership. From analyzing complex case studies in biology to earning college credits through courses that he's developed, Chris makes students feel that they matter. A tangible example of this is the fact that many of his former students stay in touch after graduating, sharing life updates and asking for advice and guidance. Christopher says that the greatest reward in teaching is getting to watch students grow into versions of themselves they may not have thought possible, and seeing that growth lifts them to new heights long after they leave his classroom. His colleagues note that Chris is relentlessly committed to making learning real and meaningful for his students. One colleague stated that upon arriving at BHS, he revitalized the AP UConn Early College Biology program. Chris's colleagues also noted that his achievements include creating the first Southern Connecticut State University Early College Partnership at BHS and building zoology from the ground up. His colleagues are most impressed with his co-development of the Business of Science course, a cross-curricular course that's funded through the Connecticut State Department of Education. Chris's commitment to student population extends far beyond the classroom. He has founded and co-founded 4 student clubs, including the Horticulture Club, Berlin Foodies Club, the Wilderness Club, and Powerlifting Club. Quite an array. He also serves as co-advisor for the student newspaper, the Red Coat Rambler, and mentors students in the UConn Natural Resource Conservation Academy. He also instituted a Carpe Noctem initiative, which gave our group of students an opportunity to learn from how research present and save the bats. If you don't know about the Carpe Noctem, it's been recognized across the country. They've done presentations around the state. They will be visiting Colorado, I believe. Am I correct? We'll be visiting Colorado soon. They've been to MIT for a weekend. It's been absolutely outstanding for our students. It's a credit to Mr. Wisniewski. As our 2027 Teacher of the Year, Mr. Wisniewski will experience a unique opportunity. He'll have a chance to share his passion for teaching and supporting students beyond the classroom. Chris will be a speaker at Berlin's Convocation in August, and we'll be honored at the annual Board of Education meeting in November. Please join me in congratulating a well-deserved 2027 Teacher of the Year for the Berlin Public Schools, Christopher Wisniewski. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Chris.
Linda, do you like to do this, or you want, oh, Kara, you gonna do it? You do the pair? Okay, I mean, I could do it.
So I get the pleasure this year of announcing our Para-Educator of the Year for the district, Miss Marcy Kessler. She is a math paraprofessional, or para-educator, I'm sorry, at McGee Middle School. I don't believe she's here tonight, but I'll just speak a little bit about her. Marcy has been a dedicated paraeducator for over 5 years, providing math intervention to many of our middle school students. She provides math instruction to all grade levels and assists teachers in their classrooms. She comes to work with a smile and helps make math fun for students who may not have always found enjoyment. Her classroom is always respectful, encouraging, positive, and fun. Her colleagues put it best when they said that paraeducators are often the unsung heroes in our buildings. In the middle school setting, where math anxiety and social pressures are real issues for many students, Marcy serves as a steady and reassuring presence to our students. She possesses the skills to break down difficult math concepts into understandable parts and emotional intelligence to rebuild and foster students' confidence. Marcy can best be described as a mentor, a strategist, and a tireless advocate for the underdog. She sees the brilliance in every student and provides the humor, heart, and hard work necessary for students to see it in themselves. Congratulations to Marcy Kessler, who is most deserving of this honor. Marcy will be honored for her dedication and excellence at the November Board of Education meeting in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara. I'd now like to ask Principal Amenta to come forward and recognize the valedictorian and salutatorian for this year.
Can I call up Nina Welch? Is Nina here? Oh, right in front of me. So I am honored to announce the 2026 salutatorian, Ms. Nina Welch. Nina is a remarkable young woman whose intelligence, leadership, and ambition have left an indelible impression on our school community. Her accolades are well-deserved recognitions of her hard work and achievements. However, what truly sets Nina apart is her humility and genuine desire to make a positive impact on the world. Nina has spent countless hours on the BHS anti-malarial independent study in collaboration with the UConn to harvest photoreactive chemicals from plants. She founded the Science Tutoring Center to provide students with access to one-to-one help for all the science curriculum. Last summer, Nina participated in an internship with the Rogue Research Group at UConn to shadow and assist on the synthesis of nanocapsules to deliver therapeutic nucleic acids. As captain of the BHS varsity swim team, Nina has earned all conference recognition twice. She's a member of the BHS Redcoat Band, Jazz Band, Model UN, and has been inducted into the National Honor Society as well as the Rho Kappa National Social Studies Society. Nina works as a swim instructor and a lifeguard for the Meriden YMCA. Nina's favorite subject in high school is by far chemistry. She took advanced chemistry as a freshman and at first found it difficult. However, as the year progressed, and with the help of Mr. Wilkos, she grew to love the subject so much that during her junior year, she took AP UConn Chemistry. These classes inspired her to study chemical engineering in the honors program next year at UConn. She would like to add a double major in management and then earn an MBA in engineering management. with a future career balancing her love of science and engineering with her newfound passion for business, discovered while running Literacy for Life. What is Literacy for Life? Well, in Nina's pastime, she put together a nonprofit. Literacy for Life is a nonprofit organization that Nina spearheaded several years back in an effort to provide underprivileged children with books. Nina's efforts went so far that she actually had to rent a storage unit. She shared this with me a few months back, and I laughed so hard because I'm like, you have a storage unit for this? To house the donations she received as a result of her incredible outreach efforts. Truly incredible. Nina's advice for BHS students is to look at everything in the big picture. In high school, every little thing seems consequential and world-ending. A poor grade, classroom drama, a big exam coming up. But as a senior, she no longer remembers what grade she earned on the Great Gatsby essay or biology final, but she will remember the people she met and the memories she made. Her advice is to roll with the punches and try to soak up each and every moment. The journey will get you to where you were supposed to be, so enjoy it while you can. Congratulations, Nina, earning the rank of salutatorian for the class of 2026.
Nina.
Okay, at this time, can I call up Megan Snyder? At this time, I have the honor of announcing the 2026 Berlin High School valedictorian, Megan Snyder. Megan's teachers describe her as an independent thinker who elevates discussions, connects ideas across disciplines, and inspires those around her. She has an ability to lead with empathy and humility, and she brings people together through understanding, fairness, and respect. Megan's resilience is truly inspiring. After the passing of her mother in 2021, she met unimaginable loss with courage and grace. Rather than allowing grief to define her, she chose to honor her mother's legacy through her strength, empathy, and determination. Her ability to persevere while excelling academically and supporting others reveals a depth of character that is truly extraordinary. Megan participates in several activities inside and outside of school, including BHS Madrigals, theater, both at the school and through the Meriden Youth Theater Group, and the BHS Chorus. Megan is also a member of the National Honor Society, as well as the Rho Kappa National Social Studies Society. She was heavily involved in the mock trial team, competing as a varsity member during her sophomore year, and then she advised the B team during her junior year. Additionally, Megan is highly involved in the Upbeat Peer Leadership Program, having been a junior house leader last year and currently serving as one of the senior coordinators. Megan is employed at Ilianos in Meriden, as well as New Britain Parks and Rec, where she lifeguards and teaches swim lessons. And this summer, she will be the assistant pool manager. Megan enjoys volunteering with Franklin and Hanover Elementary Schools in Meriden, working on their school musicals and helping with blocking and choreography. Megan's advice to underclassmen is to take advantage of the opportunities in front of you. Try the things you might be interested in at least once. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll hate it. But when else will you be surrounded by chances to learn more about yourself? It is up to you to find your own meaning within the world and to create your own path. Megan will attend UConn School of Nursing in the fall with plans to pursue a master's degree to work as a nurse practitioner. Megan would like to work with pediatrics, specializing in oncology. She has a passion for working with children and looks forward to making a lasting impact on the lives of children and their families. In closing, Megan Snyder is an exceptional young woman whose intelligence, resilience, and kindness has set her apart. She exemplifies integrity, empathy, and purpose in every single thing that she does, even when she's playing the role of Mrs. Amenta a few years back at Convocation. Nicely done. Truly, congratulations, Megan. It's been an honor working with you the last 4 years. An incredible, incredible, incredible privilege to call you the valedictorian of 2026.
Thank you.
congratulations to Megan and Nina. What a wonderful accomplishment. All right, we're going to move on to the CABE Student Leadership Awards. So the CABE Student Leadership Awards honors Connecticut high school students and middle school students who exhibit exemplary leadership skills. So 2 students from the high school and 2 students from the middle school will be recognized. The first one is Ryan Lavender. So as a board member and board chair, my kids are much younger, but Ryan Lavender, this is a name I know. I don't know, I always see your name, and you know, it's a great honor to have you up here this evening. So Ryan is very involved in the community, both in the BHS community, but also our Berlin community. He's an exceptional scholar athlete, which consistently takes time and dedication to demonstrate your commitment to not only your academics, but also your athletics and your team. He is captain of the BHS varsity football team that went on to win the state Connecticut Class M championship earlier this year, which is another big accomplishment, so well done on that. His athletic accolades include all state and all conference teams, and he was selected as the state of Connecticut top linebacker by Sports Illustrated. So that's also very impressive. Ryan is also on the baseball team and enjoys basketball, bowling, golf, and fishing. He also is involved in a number of extracurriculars, such as Upbeat and Interact Club, and he was also a hand-selected student to kick off the BHS chapter of Best Buddies, which I think is a phenomenal program, and I'm so happy that, you know, we're gonna have that here in our town and our school. Among his many awards and honors, he's been selected as All-Academic Scholastic Athlete, received the Daughters of the American Revolution Good Citizen Award, and has been inducted into Rho Kappa and National Honor Societies. He's received the Seal of Biliteracy in Spanish, and he gives back to the community as a volunteer coach for the Powder Puff team, yes, and the youth flag football, as well as Berlin Little League clinics. So I just wanted to recognize you and honor you and congratulate you for all your hard work and your dedication to not only BHS, but also the Berlin community. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. So next we are going to have Nina Welch come back up. So we just heard all about Nina and her intellectual talents here at BHS, which led you to your most recently announced title of salutatorian for the class of 2026. But there's more to that, you know, similar to Ryan, talking about the involvement and giving back, not only to BHS, the Berlin community, but also Connecticut. As Mrs. Amenta started talking about her nonprofit, this is what I'm so impressed about. I was reading about it over the past week or something before I made the connection. I'm not even sure how I went down that rabbit hole, but I was reading about it and just so impressed that a student from BHS has started this nonprofit because you truly believe in literacy and challenging educational inequities. And Connecticut has the largest achievement gap in our country. And it's just so refreshing to see young people on the front line making a difference. I'm not sure what led you to the point where you decided to start a nonprofit. I'm sure that your mom maybe helped, parents. She's a teacher in New Britain, right? Yeah. So, you know, I just think being a founder of a nonprofit, promoting literacies in school is just so incredible. It's beyond more than what you need for a foundation once you leave here. And giving back to beyond the Berlin community is just so selfless and thoughtful of you, which I think brings you to being this award being so well deserved. In addition to the Literacy for Life and donating over 35,000 books to more than 15 schools in New Britain Hartford, and New Haven. Nina also runs a book club at the North End Elementary School in New Britain to foster a safe community and a love of reading. And Nina embodies the true spirit of leadership, inspiring and influencing others and serving as an outstanding role model throughout not only the school community, but our greater community. So like I said when I started, as I was reading about your nonprofit, I was so inspired, and that's what you're truly doing. So congratulations on your well-deserved award. Congratulations. You're welcome. All right. And now we have Andrea Grant from McGee Middle School. So it is with great pride that we also recognize Andrea Grant as a recipient of the CABE Student Leadership Award. And I hope that, over the next 4 years or so, your name will be as recognized as Nina and Ryan's. So when I see them come forward, I'll be like, oh, I know them, even though I don't, because of what they do. And you're on that path. So you go by Andy? Yes, okay. So Andy is an honors math student who will continue and advance coursework at Berlin High School. And her approach to academics reflects maturity well beyond her years. At McGee, Andy has been an active member of the student council, plays on the soccer team, and a track athlete, contributing time and energy across multiple areas of school life. Throughout student council, she's been part of a team focused on identifying real problems and finding real solutions, a mindset that carries over into how she shows up for her classmates, always choosing to explain and support classmates rather than just simply give answers. Andy was part of a select group of students who presented to district and building administrators, providing student voice on her unique perspective, which isn't always easy. It can be overwhelming in front of all those adults you might not know. Outside of school, Andy has contributed to our community through service projects, showing that her sense of responsibility extends well beyond McGee's hallways. We are proud to celebrate Andy Grant this evening and congratulate you on your well-deserved recognition. Congratulations. You're welcome. Keep it up. And we also have Annabelle Meager from McGee. So we're excited to recognize Annabelle Meager as McGee Middle School's recipient of the CABE Student Leadership Award. Annabelle is an honors level student who exemplifies what it means to take ownership of her own learning. That same drive and determination have defined her academic journey at McGee, and she will continue honors math, ELA, and science at BHS. Beyond the classroom, Annabelle has been a constant active contributor of student life, serving as the VP of the Student Council and participating in varsity soccer and track during her time at McGee. Her leadership was on full display when she volunteered to speak at a student leadership conference at Cheshire High School, stepping up in a room of peers to model what it means to lead with confidence. Annabelle also extends her service beyond McGee by logging community service hours through her church with initiatives including Boxes to Boots, sending cards to seniors, and collecting food donations for those in need. A recipient of the Superintendent's Award in 5th grade, so that was like 4 years ago, yeah. Well, you're back, so hopefully you'll be back a lot more in high school. Annabelle has built on that foundation and grown into a young woman who leads quietly, consistently, and with genuine care for the people around her. We are so proud to honor you this evening. Congratulations. Good job. Have a good summer. My dad?
I brought the gifts from today. Next, if I could ask our two board reps to come forward, Grace Buckholz and Yumna Hassan, please come forward. These two individuals, one junior and one senior, come to the majority of the board meetings, give up their time, do a report that they've modernized over the years, and just do a wonderful job as for representing the student body. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Julie to say a few other words.
Thank you so much for your time. I know sometimes our meetings are very long, and I always try and think of you guys and say, you guys can go, or please contribute. So thank you for all that you do, coming and sitting at the table. Even if you're at the end of the table, it's hard in this setting because we don't always see each other. But this is, where are you going next year? Bryant. So when you're done with Bryant, you come back to Berlin, you should definitely get on the Board of Ed and, be a board member with us. You've got some more time, but like 5 years. But, Grace, you will be missed next year. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your contributions, both of you. And I know that it does take a lot of time. People often say to us, this is a thankless job. It is for you guys too, because your names don't always get put on everything, or you might not get all the recognition, or you're a non-voting member, so you don't always get to vote. But we do appreciate you and value you, and your reports at every meeting is definitely a highlight. So in tonight's report, I hope you have planned for the girls' golf announcement, right? But I want to congratulate Grace while she is up here before anybody leaves, that you guys just won the state Division II state title for girls golf, and she was a member of that team. I didn't want to forget, but congratulations, and thank you so much for your time, and your replacement has big shoes to fill. Yeah. Thank you so much.
At this time, I know many of you might want to get home for this evening. We're going to start the traditional board agenda. So if you need to leave at this time, feel free. I know that the board is okay with that, so thank you.
Board agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I left it up here.
Did you? Okay.
It says
I think the next item on the agenda is the report of board members. Do we have any board members that have anything that they would like to report out to the board?
I would like to, go ahead, Melissa.
No, you
first.
go.
Ladies first.
Nope, you already talked, go.
Okay, I had the opportunity and honestly the privilege to go to Mr. Cronk's class for two days while students were giving presentations about real town and/or school issues. I thought Mr. Kronk did an amazing job really working them through the realistic solutions that they came up with, trying to think about the problems, trying to really think through, how would they fund these proposals. So some of the examples, a couple of them weren't really school related, but super important to the town. There was one presentation about bike lanes, another about more sidewalks, and the mayor and town councilman Donna Veach were both there, and they spoke to that. But the ones that I thought were germane to us, and I thought they were interesting, a lot of ask to either come into school late or leave early, for sure. Some flexible schedules, later start types of presentations, things like that. One about reduced homework or having a more, flexible idea about homework, as that's something, with kids with jobs and things of that nature caused a lot of stress. One about revisiting the backpack policy, and one about the dress code. One thought that the dress code should be looked at again, and that maybe it doesn't quite make as much sense as it did at one point, to maybe take a look at it and freshen that up. And I didn't think that was a bad idea at all, so maybe that's something we could talk about later. And then one that I thought was great because we're doing it, which was really look at our AI policy and see how that impacts, the student body and how that impacts kids in their learning. So I just thought it was really well done. I'm really glad that I was able to go to both of those events, and and the kids did great. And those are the things that really make me happy to be of that and the things we did tonight. That's why I was on the board, and it was great. So I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Kronk. I know Miss Amenta was there. She's still in the room somewhere. Yep. So she was there for one day, and I think Miss Watson was there, Ms. Tripp. So we had a lot of attendance. It was really, really well done. And I don't know. we're not skipping you, Melissa. Jennifer, do you want to augment that, though, with what you did with them?
You were going to go next, okay. Yeah, I mean, we also had a few of those presentations at the Parents Advisory Council meeting. And again, I mean, I think it was just a great way to show other, people in the community what's going on inside the classroom and the collaboration that the students can do with some real life examples of things. And they just did a great job, and I was really happy to be both part of that Parents Council meeting, but also was sitting in on one of the sessions that Mr. Kronk did in his classroom. So, great.
In concert last week, band was something new for our family this year, which was fabulous. But I just wanted, and I gave a shout out to the music teachers. I think one of the special parts of the evening was seeing the other music teachers helping each other out and the students. They were all on the stage together, and as Mr. Chef was explaining, they each help at each other's performances, and I just thought that was extremely special. Talked about just great connections with your colleagues, and it just was wonderful. And it's wonderful that our district has, the student work displayed in a big public place at the museum, the performance that they have. So the appreciation of the arts is truly special.
Two other things to Mr. Cronk's class presentations. I attended the Unified Theater production, which was a theme of game shows, and also the Berlin High in the Spotlight, which was an evening of music showcasing the band and chorus students. And, in all of these things, all three of them, including Mr. Cronk's class, you see the collaboration, the teamwork, the learning by doing, and building confidence and new sets of skills, and you're really getting students, to push outside their comfort zones, which is just really great to see. And that's something they are learning in the classroom and then taking to that next level, which is, it's also just a testament to all of our great staff, too.
2 weeks ago, I think, I attended the Upbeat Picnic with many other board members. The hot dog day, as Peter calls it. Peter calls it hot dog night. So a number of us were there, and it was really great seeing all the staff volunteering their time, cooking hot dogs. I bumped into someone who didn't know who the superintendent was, and they said, "They make the superintendent cook hot dogs?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's him. That's him behind the grill." But it was really well done. So, I'm really impressed with how the event went, and my kids had a great time, and I love going, and I feel like every year it just gets better and better. Anyone else? All right. Moving on to our favorite part of the night, the report of student representatives.
So we're going to start off with, we already talked about Mr. Wisniewski, who's still in the audience, but our Carpe Noctem initiative at Berlin High. So Carpe Noctem received the 2026 Golden Beaver Award from the MIT BeaverWorks Engineering and Innovation Lab at the Lemelson MIT Eureka Fest on May 19th. This national award is presented to the top invent team in the country and recognizes the originality, technical complexity, impact, and successful development of the invention. For Berlin High School students to earn this recognition on a national stage is a major achievement and reflects the incredible work the team has done this year. In addition to this, Carpe Noctem also welcomed a delegation of Ukrainian student inventors to Berlin High School on May 28th. Students shared their invention work, learned from one another, and connected through science and innovation across countries. This visit showed how far the team's work has reached and gave students a meaningful chance to be a part of a larger global community of young inventors.
On May 26, BHS was happy to host the incoming Redcoats for McGee Fly-Up Day. Student volunteers and staff were all happy to welcome a fresh new class of students up to the high school. See you next year.
Miss Portal's senior speech class presented their inspirational Words of Wisdom to BHS students and staff on May 28th. With life lessons, both unique and personal, anyone listening was able to walk out of the auditorium with some memorable pieces of advice from our graduating class. Great job, everyone.
Congratulations to the incredible certified nursing assistant students on reaching this huge milestone. All of your hard work, dedication, and countless hours of training have officially paid off.
On June 2nd, BHS hosted an awards night for academic and scholastic achievements. Congratulations to all the students who received awards, and a special congratulations to valedictorian Megan Snyder and salutatorian Nina Welch for the hard work they have put in for the past 4 years.
As the years have flown by, it is finally time to say goodbye to the departing senior class of 2026. With last week being senior outing, along with upcoming awaited events such as all-night grad, the senior class will be saying goodbye to Berlin High School. They will walk the stage at Sage Park on Friday, June 12th. Class President Spencer Toussaint, salutatorian Nina Welch, and valedictorian Megan Snyder present their advice to the class as we all wish them the best of luck in their upcoming endeavors.
And we were kind of waiting on the results today, but Berlin Girls Golf has officially won their 5th consecutive CIAC Division II state title, which is an unprecedented accomplishment, not to mention that all 4 varsity starters made all-conference and won the CCC tournament at Timberland last week. So we have a lot of good stuff going on, and I do want to recognize all of the presentations and things we've had tonight. Our arts department with all of the art awards, not to mention the things going on that all of our board members have been attending. We just have a lot of good stuff happening at BHS. So this, I guess, is my final final board meeting, but I'm really happy to say that I was a part of our BHS community, and we have a lot of good stuff going on.
Thank you, and thank you for your final presentation. Good luck. Good luck in the fall when you go to Bryan. It's going to be great, and like I said already, we'll be expecting you back in 4 years when you come back to Connecticut, Berlin, Connecticut. Thank you, and thank you for all your time. Thank you for that. All right, moving on to committee reports. Okay. The curriculum committee?
We'll get into this, it's an agenda item, but the gist of it is we're going to be looking at maybe making some changes on next year's calendars to reduce some of the half-days, as it's been articulated by the community that it's a bit of a challenge for a lot of the parents out there. So, we're going to sort of propose maybe a solution that's somewhere in the middle between making sure that we can still get the professional development time that the teachers need and meet the needs of the community. So that'll be coming up.
Thank you. No other committees met? Did the ad hoc committee meet, the policy? We did. When did we?
Yes, the ad hoc committee met to look at the one policy. As a policy states that the ad hoc committee must meet before a policy is brought to the board for the first reading. So that policy has to do with the start for kindergarten, and we're talking about that this evening.
Thank you. Correspondence to the board.
Yes, two correspondents to the board this evening. The first, thank you. There are not enough words to fully express our heartfelt thanks and sympathy and love and support you've extended to our family during this time of loss. This is from Donna Francolino, who is a paraprofessional here at the high school. Next is a note from Tony Mangiafico, Anthony Mangiafico, who's we've had at board meetings. He's been part of the board retreats, who's my administrative intern. Thank you for welcoming me into your meetings, retreats this year. I truly appreciate the opportunity to observe the board that works so collaboratively with the superintendent and consistently keeps the students at the center of every discussion and decision. I especially appreciate your candor and appreciate during the retreats, which provided me valuable insight and effective governance and leadership. Thank you as well for the dinners and hospitality throughout the year. I am grateful for the opportunity to learn from the Berlin. Sincerely, Anthony Mangiafico.
Any other correspondence to the board?
No other correspondence.
Okay, moving on to audience of citizens. If any members of the community would like to address the board, you may do so. Please come to the microphone, state your name and address, and you will be limited to 3 minutes per resident. Yeah, come on up. You might as well.
We liked how you're starting.
Keep going with that.
Yeah. My name is Aurora Cordoville, 19 Timberwood Road, Berlin. I just want to say that again? Yeah? Am I good? Okay. So I just wanted to make a comment. All of the kids that have come out and gotten recognized tonight, and everybody is just, that is like the cream of the crop in Berlin, right? I mean, these kids are great. They're very mature. They're doing a wonderful job in school, and it's great to see that. I just want to say that there are a lot of kids that are not like that, and unfortunately, my kid seems to experience a lot of the fallout from the kids that are not like that, and it's been really frustrating for my family because my kid gets bullied, has been getting bullied since they were in second grade, since they moved to Berlin. And I wish that there were more kids like these kids that we're seeing recognized tonight in the classrooms in Berlin, because it's been frustrating. So just be aware of that. That's all I want to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for that. And that's definitely something we can continue discussing at our summer board retreat. I think it's really important. Anybody else? Would anyone else like to approach the board? All right, moving on to our agenda item. We have paraeducator retirement. Timothy Cecil, paraeducator at Berlin High, has submitted his letter of intent to retire effective the end of the school year. Do we have a motion for consideration?
That the board accept the retirement of Timothy Cecil, paraeducator at Berlin High School, effective at the end of the current school year. Also to thank him for the 3 years of service he has provided to the youth of Berlin and wish him good health and happiness in his retirement years.
Do we have a second? Motion by Vanessa, second by Jen. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Vote carries 9-0. Moving on to another retirement, Lynn Rudolph, paraeducator at McGee, has submitted her letter of intent to retire effective June 19th, 2026. Do we have a motion for consideration?
I'll move that the board accept the retirement of Lynn Rudolph, paraeducator at Catherine M. McGee School, effective June 19th, 2026. Also to thank her for the 5 years of service she has provided to the youth of Berlin and wish her good health and happiness in her retirement years.
Do we have a second? Motion by Jen, second by Gina. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, we can move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 9-0. Moving on, we have another retirement. Serafina Magnifico, a paraeducator at Hubbard School, has submitted her letter of intent to retire effective June 18th, 2026. Do we have a motion for consideration?
Board accept the retirement of Serafina Mangiafico, paraeducator at Richard D. Hubbard School, effective June 18th, 2026. Also to thank her for the 17 years of service she has provided to the youth of Berlin and wish her good health and happiness in her retirement years.
Do we have a second? I'll second. Who's in it first? Jess, okay. So the motion by Gina, the second by Jessica. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none, we can move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 9-0. Moving on to the consent agenda. The items that are in the consent agenda are posted in Schoology. Before we get into any discussion, if there is any, do we have a motion for consideration?
Agenda is presented.
Motion by Peter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Peter, second by Melissa. Any discussion?
I hope they have a great trip.
All right, hearing no other, we can move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Vote carries 9-0. Moving on to new business in our agenda, the Berlin VNA service agreement with the Berlin Board of Education for July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. The agreement has been posted in Schoology for your review. Do we have a motion for consideration?
Approve the agreement between the Berlin Board of Education and the Berlin Visiting Nurse Association for fiscal year 26 and 2027.
Do we have a second? Motion by Peter, second by Gina. Any discussion? Hearing none, we can move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Vote carries 9-0. Okay, discussion, moving on to the next item, the 2026-2027 Board of Education budget. So after the second referendum on May 2026, the majority vote was no, too low. And the town council approved the level of funding for the Board of Education's operating budget in the amount of $56,578,059, which, do you know the total increase? 3.69, and what's the total?
It's a $181,000 increase from the original.
181,000.
81,000 being added from the town side of the budget, which is the operational budget. And then that definitely goes against the mill. The mill did not increase, though, because the town listened to the voters and took the 81,000 that they added to the board from the town side. After the second referendum, they added an additional $100,000, which I believe, I don't know if you know, believe the $100,000 is coming from the educational cost-sharing funds. That's the $581,000 that we talked about, that the state, that does not go against the mill, it comes from the state. So of the 581, the town is retaining 481,000 and giving the board 100,000 towards our budget. So that gives us a $181,000 increase from the original budget that was put forward at the first referendum.
So before we get into any discussion, do we have a motion for consideration?
Adopt an operating budget for 26-2027 in the amount of $56,578,059 is set by the town council.
Do we have a second? So the motion by Peter, the second by Brian. Now we can open it up for discussion. So as the superintendent mentioned, that we are receiving additional funding from the state, from our legislators that was voted on to support education. I know I've spoken to several other towns who are receiving the whole allocation. We are only receiving a portion of that. So we as a board will not see that $581,000 come to us. It can be used in other educational ways, but the town will hold on to that. So we unfortunately needed about $250,000 to retain the positions at McGee, and we did not get that $250,000. Is that correct, Ashley? Give me.
We needed to retain the two positions at McGee. The $181,000 increase will retain the two positions at McGee. To retain you're thinking of the math position at the high school.
The math position at the high school as well.
And the two McGee, we needed a little over $250, yes.
A little over $250. So we were hoping for at least $250 to retain those three positions. So I don't know if anyone has anything else to say. But now's the time to say it.
Are we going to have a discussion? I mean, those were potential when we first talked about that. Is that going to come back to discuss what?
I think we should have a discussion now because I need to notify the teachers that whether they're going back to McGee or hiring new teachers. The thought was when we had the discussion, the elimination of the positions were the one ISS supervisor who retired. We did not fill that position. The math position at the high school, and then there were the sixth grade ELA teachers. So with the monies we have left, I think, it's what the board wants to do with that money. Do we want to reinstate the two positions at McGee, the math position at the high school? My recommendation is the two positions at McGee because class sizes will go above 25 if we don't put those positions back at McGee. But
I think without being in the building, just knowing middle school in general, and we're preparing them for high school, and then beyond high school, losing positions at the middle level to bring bigger sizes, and everybody knows it's not a new thing. Middle school is some of the toughest years for many, many kids, even your highest achievers. Socially, emotionally, academically, that's where things get real, and they get really hard. And I think losing positions at that level, regardless of what's being said about our enrollment, it's been stable. I just think it's a concern. So I would like to see them reinstate it. I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Brian, just to be 360, if the elimination of the math teacher, what does that mean? Like,
The math teacher, we'd love to have the math teachers. Our SAT scores were improved, but based on where the schedule is right now, it would mean that we'd not be able to offer as much math resource the way the schedule is built right now. With additional math teacher, we could offer additional courses. We could offer some smaller sizes at the high school, but we can't do it without that. It just means that we're not providing some of the math resource help that we would like to do.
We need to do what we need to keep the 2 teachers at McGee. I would love to try to find a way to keep the math teacher as well. I don't really know what that looks like. I know we're kind of down to bare bones here, but I really think all 3 of those positions are incredibly important.
I'm on the same page. I said it from the very beginning. It's people. So keeping those people in those positions in the classroom, the connections with the kids.
There's something on the board behind us, on the screen. I just really wish that we could get more of the money that our legislators earmarked for us, so we wouldn't have to have this discussion. That's just, that, I just feel that I'm at a loss for words right now, because I know our legislators didn't just waste their time, because it was a lot of time to get us this money, and we're.
To that money for?
I don't
Do we know? Does it have to be spent in a certain amount of time?
Yeah.
My understanding is it's not like a grant. It's a money from the state. It just has to, how it has to be earmarked. So if there were expenses they can put against education, it can be used for those. I mean, I've heard differing things about.
2 years.
2 years?
2 years. But that could have been an opportunity for us to, pay for things over the next 2 years, so we're not putting them in our operational budget and coming in every single year with a big ask, a 5% ask.
Right.
Like, this could have been such a great opportunity. If you go back and watch the Board of Finance meetings, like, you will hear that it was a matter of principle of just not giving the board money, rather than thinking about the students and their needs and what our job here is to do. Our job is to look at the schools and make the decisions for what's right and best for the Berlin learners.
State, it has to go for supposedly education, but does it have to be actually earmarked for in-house education? Isn't it for capital improvements and?
Yeah, if it's, Ashley could correct me if I'm wrong, but if it's for schools, like let's say we have the labs, the construction of the labs. If it's building projects within the schools, my understanding the funds can be used. I think it's more of a question of who's controlling it. If it went to us, the board controls it. If it stays with the town, they control it, but it still has to be earmarked towards education. Ashley could probably give you more details on it.
And like I've already stated, the several towns I've spoken to, they're getting their full allocation from their town leaders, no questions asked. So the fact that we're not even seeing half of it, or discussion or questions, or, I know I said to the mayor, like, could we try and get 250? Like, 250, that would keep it whole. They said they were going to listen to the voters. The voters came out, said no, too low, and this is money that's coming in that wasn't expected, so there's more that could have been done. Ashley?
So yeah, the money has to be used on educational purposes, but it could also be used to offset whatever is coming from tax dollars. So because the budget wasn't officially approved, they could take whatever they were going to put in for a mill increase and apply this grant towards that. So if they had money that they were going to allocate from local tax dollar for education, they could reduce that amount and put this grant in its place. And they are fulfilling the requirement.
How it's being spent, correct? So if they're, like, we're getting the new labs at McGee, that was in their budget to get those upgraded, now they could use that towards the lab?
So the labs, the only thing that's been approved for the labs is the A&E designs. The actual construction, it's not even out to bid, so no funding has been allocated for the construction of the labs.
No, but if they were to decide to do the labs, they could use the funds to offset
They could.
the price. That's
Right,
what you're asking, yes.
that's just use that as an,
Yes,
as an
that's
example.
correct.
Okay.
The biggest thing is the town government gets to decide where the money is spent now because they get to control it. If it was put into us, like we're having a discussion, what do we want to put back in? If they increased, you would have decisions on where it could be spent.
And I think that's where this legislation kind of falls short. Instead of sending it directly to the schools and giving it, and it just had to be some language in it, and I think it was pretty rushed, and, it was well-intended, and it was because everybody is struggling and everybody is having big asks here, like just turn on the news, you see a school district like North Haven's been in the news, Hartford's constantly in the news, New Britain, it's not just cities, it's similar towns, demographics to us. But I don't think it was intended for this to be the outcome, but this is where we're at, and I think it's really, really disheartening.
If I can make one more comment?
Yeah.
I think to start the year, we just can't afford the math position to fully. If we get into the year and there's funds available and we find that, based on who we hire and what there is, we may be able to add the position back in some portion of the year. If that may or may not be advantageous, just because math positions, especially at the secondary level, are difficult to find. I don't know how that's going to be with many districts having some budget issues, but high-level math teachers are not, there's a shortage area of them, so that it may not be feasible to do that. But if we had the funds and we said, our line there for certified staff, we're looking at projections and there's some money we could, we have done in the past, hire them mid-year and then fund it. But I think to do that and talking with Ashley to do that initially, we'd be running in the red on that line.
And talk about our SAT scores for a moment. They're the highest they've been in 6 years, right? So we're doing some really amazing things here at Berlin Public Schools. I know we sit at the board, we're not on the front lines teaching the kids, but the decisions we're making have this impact to support the teachers, support the students, and to make this a place where people want to work and kids want to learn. Not everyone wants to learn, but we're getting the results, and they're going up. And that bounce back from COVID was no joke. Everyone's experiencing it, and it's hard to engage learners after something like that 6 years ago. But here we are, and those results are something that, Katie Amenta and your whole staff should be really proud of, as well as the middle school and everybody involved in getting those kids to that point, in their, 10 to 12 years in Berlin Public Schools. The kids are doing great things. And if we want to, every cut we make, we're going to see the impact. We're going to see an impact, and it might not be for 5 years from now, but it's, we're doing great things, and we should be really proud of ourselves. And the staff should be as well. But it's just, it would be nice to, see the support and the recognition on the other end.
Is there any wiggle room anywhere in the budget to move things around in order to keep this position? Because one thing I keep hearing is everybody wants to keep people, keep positions. That's the most important resource that we have. Some feedback that I've received in the community People are complaining, why are we hiring an assistant superintendent? Why can't you use that money to retain the staff?
Because we eliminated another position to restructure admin, so we could have that, because going back to we're doing great things, we have to look at succession planning. And if we're not gonna plan for Brian's retirement in the next 3 to 5 years, then it could all fall apart. And it will. We've had an assistant superintendent, the past one, who when Brian was laid up in the hospital after his accident, he loves when I bring up, the first day I talked to him, when he was able to talk, I said, when are you coming back? Like, get better, but like, when are you coming back? He's not happy with me now. But the point is you could bring the wrong person in. And so by restructuring admin, eliminating an admin position, so we can't not hire the assistant superintendent and eliminate that admin position, because admin are now taking more on their plate for this to happen. Does that make sense?
I just like to be able to have it reiterated, so when people are complaining why we're doing what we're doing, at least it's been said time and time again so people can understand our position.
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
That's okay if I comment? I think that the thing I tried to share with all of you is that it's not just, it's succession planning. It's not about me and my accident. It's really not about me, even though, no, it's not. It's about the people you have in the district and what's coming. When you look at central office, it's not just my retirement. There's many people who are going to leave in the next few years, next 3 years. So you're right. You could wait. You keep things, and I know this person's gonna get mad at me like I got mad at you, Julia, but, Lori Jerpin is announced her retirement last year. She's been with us. Lori loves when she's out there giving me the fist like this. Lori's been with the district over 25 years. That's a curriculum director that's leaving next year. There's some continuity that's leaving there. Other people at central office are very close to retirement. So it's really a question of, where the board sits on it and what you think is best long-term. So as much as people say, keep the teacher, I think you have an idea of what's coming, and you have to plan for how to keep Berlin Public Schools moving if you're happy with how it's moving. And I can say the one position that we added over the years, despite the budgets, has been Millie, our Career Pathways Coordinator, and the work she's doing. You've heard some of that tonight with the CNA graduation. So, and that was courageous of the board to do, because there was criticism of that, because we added something. We do that. And we're not adding, yes, we're adding assistant superintendent, but you're also eliminating a special ed supervisor. So it's not like you're layering another administrator. It's not as though you're doing that. And next year you will have, a curriculum director that is retiring. So we are trying to look beyond 1 year. I'm sorry, Lori, that's all I can tell you.
Brian. I'm sorry. I started it. I'm sorry.
But
sorry, Lori.
it is up to you as a board to decide, but that was the conversation. And I think it's important, like you said, to share publicly what we're doing, and whether it's positive criticism or not. And I believe in the long run, if it works out, you're sitting in a good spot. This year, just to reiterate, Rocky Hill superintendent retiring, Cromwell superintendent retiring, Glastonbury, Ellington superintendent out, Colchester superintendent out. Last year there were 28 superintendents. So I worry about this void. If you look at Middletown per se, and I know Jen and I have had conversations about, they've had 2 superintendents that have left recently, not leaving in the best means, and the underpinnings, the assistants that were there, they all left. And so now you have, they have a great guy coming in with probably 16, 17 years of experience, but the town he was in now upped the salary to close to $300,000. Not an affluent town, because they want an experienced superintendent, because they had an experience. He's now going to Middletown. So it's not that you're not going to get someone in the seat. There'll be people that want the seat. Please don't think that. But you're going to compete against the other towns for the individual, and I'll speak to this. My doctorate, which I didn't finish, but I was 2 chapters away, and Ma got cancer and Dad died 30 days later, but that's another story, not about the accident. But the reason I only bring it up, my research was on the average tenure of a superintendent is 3 years. When you keep having a cycle of turnover, it causes lack of consistency in the district. So as I said to you at the retreat, if you think where the district is, and I really believe this, I think we have probably the strongest administrative group we've had. And we have 4 schools on U.S. News and Report. Our SAT scores are the best ever. we have a lot of good things to be proud of despite budgets and so on. If you like where it's at, then you want to continue that going on and not just have, whoever you can get. And I can only speak to the last two superintendents prior. The district courted somebody and said they were coming. The person went and toured the buildings and then pulled out at the last minute. And then, I was on the committee, and then they brought someone in the ninth hour quietly. That was Dave Irwin who came in. But the two previous before that, it was difficult to just, solidify somebody. So, I'm sharing it publicly. It's on record now. I don't think I'm saying anything that's not the truth. But that's why people ask. So,
And I think two other things that people may or may not realize sitting at the board. The first thing, when you have a superintendent leave and a new one come in, you could see a huge changeover in staffing, huge changeover. People are leaving, people are coming in. There's a lot of politics that go behind it. The second thing is, us as a board, it will be whoever sits on the board at that time, it will be us deciding who's on our committee, if we even want any community stakeholders, and who that person is we are hiring. And for all of us as a collective, do we think we collectively have the experience to really truly decide who that person, like that's a lot on us as community volunteer members, with the only two requirements being we're a registered voter and we live in Berlin. And that's the truth. We are going to be tasked with a huge job, and there's a lot of room for error, and that's going to fall on us. And so, I think restructuring that administrative position was so incredibly smart. And I've had similar conversations, and I've said, no, I don't know why I keep having to tell you. We are not adding a position. We've eliminated one, we're restructuring it. It's the smartest approach, but that's that. Anybody else want to talk about this? Because we're still talking about the motion, about the budget.
Have another question. I know we just moved to a one-to-one technology district. I know we could definitely save money if we allowed individuals to bring their own device again. I know we just moved away from that, but in an effort to keep a math teacher, I personally think it's definitely something worth entertaining.
I think it might be worth having a discussion. I think it might be worth the board having an additional meeting to further this discussion. I think there's two pieces to that, right? Like, we need to look at what's being spent and maybe get some more data to continue this discussion. But I think also, preparing students, whether they're doing one-to-one devices in every single class of the day or they have access to them, I think it's really important that they have access, because if we're preparing them for whatever is beyond here, college or not, even if they're going to the military or entering the workforce, they're going to need those skills. But I think we could certainly continue the discussion around that and the spending on it. I don't know what your thoughts are.
About our discussion on the one-to-one devices, especially in the secondary, the security issues is one of the reasons why we switched to not bringing their own devices. That the ability to monitor what students are doing on it, the ability to have consistency amongst all students in fairness of what students can do on their own device, it was the rationale to move in that direction, and why we did move to and not have students bring their own devices. Also the integrity of the students and how they use their devices, with AI becoming, so rampant in what they can do. If the position is that, yes, we can run something in the red, we risk of doing that is that we don't have enough money, or at the end of the year, we don't have that money to purchase the technology. But I think it's a bigger discussion if the board wants to, eliminate technology and where to eliminate it, and, what's best educationally.
I feel like you would need half of the students. Oh, I feel like you would need half of the students to bring their own computers. And I don't feel that that's even possible for some people.
Well, yeah, and I also think, like a year ago when we were talking about this policy, I think it's the school's responsibility to teach students that digital citizenship piece and how not to get fired from a job and kicked out of college, which if we don't start teaching that here around plagiarism, copy and pasting, cheating, by having the school required devices, I think it really truly puts safeguards in place to help develop those foundational skills so they know what they're allowed to do and not, and certain things are blocked. Katie? Mm-hmm. Ashley has something.
Of kids that actually purchase their own devices is very small, so it would be a very, very insignificant cost savings. It wouldn't be enough for a teacher.
So I think just to add to Jess, because there was a lot of conversation about secondary, and I can totally understand the perspectives, and I brought this up before, right, about a year ago. I would like to have the discussion if we were to go, in the red line, I'm talking at the elementary level. That's where I would be in discussion.
And so I think this discussion is actually really important for the board, as well as your opinions and perspectives. But remember, technology is not funded through a line item, that's funded through end of year, and we can't put next year's salaries on end of year. So even if we were to eliminate and make reductions in that technology, that's only end of year funding, and so we can't put that towards next year's salary.
So what I can do for next board meeting is prepare a report, number of what technology is at K1 and 2, and then what the cost would be this year for replacements at those level and how many we're replacing and so on. And then the board can look at that. We don't have to post a math position now. We could look at it at their next board meeting and then have a greater discussion about it. I think what I'm looking for at this meeting is that there's agreement that the 2 McGee positions are reinstated now, so we can notify those teachers and, hire our elementary teachers for those open positions and move forward. And then we can have a discussion about whether we'd want to run something in the red and then potentially not be able to fund the technology at the end of the year and reduce the technology that's in the primary grades at the elementary. Is that what you're asking, Melissa, too? Do they have that type of information?
So I think at our next meeting, we should continue our budget discussion. If there's any things that you think we should get figures for, numbers for now. But I do believe that Ashley?
A budget in place before July 1. So if you
And
want
that's what I
to
was
do
about
this,
to
we would have
say.
to have a special meeting before July 1
Yep,
to adopt
that's
the budget.
Actually, so I was going to say that with the assistant superintendent, the board is going to have to interview the final candidate, and that might be an opportunity. Brian, do you think that it could be done before June 27th?
Yeah, yes, I do. I think, but we can, right now, and someone correct me if I'm incorrect, we can adopt the budget as such. What we're saying is we might want to then go and add a position. The number is going to stay the same, the amount, but the board has the autonomy to decide how it's spent. So if the board comes back and says, run the certified staff in the red, hire the position, see if you make it up by the end of the year, or we're going to run equipment in the red and hopefully balance at the end, we could then do that. That's and based on, or we're not going to, and then what we'll do if it's in the red at the end, we're not going to fund this technology, if that's what the board decides.
So does the board think that that's just what we should do, or we should just have that separate meeting? Because I know we're going to have another meeting anyway.
So if you adopt the
number
56 million tonight, we could move forward, and then we would just address it with board transfers in the new fiscal year.
That's how we do it.
But you would have to adopt this number tonight. My rollovers.
Yeah, we're adopting the number, and then we have the autonomy to make decisions.
Everyone okay with the fact of reinstating the McGee positions at this point?
Yes.
Okay, and that's okay.
What
So
about BHS?
that, I think we want to wait and have the discussion about the math position, right, the next meeting. If that's something we want to run in the red, that's a greater discussion but then to at least have a plan, on how we're gonna balance it if we need to. So we're gonna.
But do you think you need to like post that and hire for that
I-
now, or
I-
you
I
think
if-
waiting?
I think we can have that discussion if we have it, if we're gonna have, hopefully, the appointment of the assistant superintendent before the end of the month, then why can't that just be another item on the special meeting and have that discussion? And I can produce numbers that'll tell you what the elementary tech is, and give you a better notion of what we purchase and what we use.
Okay, so we'll be in touch about the upcoming meeting, and we'll figure that out. We're gonna have to figure that out. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Vote carries 9-0. So while Ashley is up there, she is going to give us a brief update on facilities.
Yeah. So we're still waiting on the contracts for the Berlin High School flooring project to get signed. The final approval for the funding transfers is scheduled for tomorrow's Board of Finance meeting. We needed an additional $900,000, with the hopes of the contract being signed by the end of this week. We have requested a tentative schedule regarding the mobilization and overall project timeline that has been requested to the contractors to help us plan for the summer cleaning and events. Despite the delay in the contract signing, we do project that this will start in the summer with the intention of doing the first level this summer and then the lower level next summer. The contract for the A&E designs over at for McGee Middle School has been signed. So we're going to be meeting with Fryer Architecture later this week for our kickoff meeting, and the timeline for those designs is about 6 months. Both HVAC projects at Griswold and Hubbard are progressing nicely. We are continuing discussions regarding the electrical shutdowns for both schools. Final approval for the temporary power needed for fire and life safety will go to the Public Building Commission later this week. The Griswold shutdown will start on Monday, July 6th and run through Friday, August 14th. During that time, no one except for the electrical contractors are permitted in the building. Office staff will be relocated to McGee Middle School, and custodial staff will be reassigned throughout the district. Hubbard's electrical shutdown has not officially been scheduled yet. However, the building is only looking at a 1-week shutdown for the installation of the switchgear. The team is working on temporary power, which will allow the daycare to operate without interruption. And plans and designs for the renovations over at the CCTA are still in the works. Members of the PPS department and the town, architects and myself met with the team the end of May for our project kickoff meeting. The initial plans called for an installation of mini splits for cooling. However, after further review, it will be more cost-effective to replace the existing infrastructure, and I will need to return to council to request an increase in the A&E as part of the project. Even with that revised scope, we are still within the limits of the grant.
Any questions for Ashley? Thank you for your report. All right. Moving on to the next agenda item that was discussed in the committee meeting, the curriculum committee meeting, the revision to the 2026-2027 school calendar. So the superintendent is proposing the following revisions to the 26-27 school calendar, eliminating afternoon PD days on March 2nd, 7th, and 26th, and adding full professional development day on May 25th, reducing the number of student days to 180 due to the concerns raised from community members about the number of early release days, as it, especially for the elementary and middle school parents or the kids who aren't allowed to be home alone yet. It puts a lot on the families. So the work would take place on the eliminated half days on the alternative days proposed. So before we open this up for discussion, do we have a motion for consideration?
I move that the 2026-2027 school calendar be revised to eliminate afternoon professional development on March 2nd, May 7th, and May 26th, add a full professional development day on May 25th, and reduce the number of student days to 180. 180. Just make sure it goes clear.
Do we have a second? So the motion by Brian, the second by Jen. Now we can open it up for discussion. So I don't know if you guys want to share about any discussion from the committee meeting first?
So you kind of really set set everything more or less, but just to make it a little bit more clear, we're looking at a Tuesday, March 2nd, a Friday, May 7th, and a Wednesday, May 26th. Those would now become full days. And that that May 25th would now be a full day off, but that's the second referendum day. So that is something that we know we get some concerns about having school open while there's voting going on. So that would eliminate that problem should we need a second referendum day, which has been the case. We did talk about going back to 180 school days, and Brian did supply some information kind of saying that we haven't really done anything other than sort of vote that 181st day away for the majority of the last bunch of years. I mean, this past winter was a little bit of an anomaly, but I think, and I certainly want Melissa and Christine to say if they felt different. We felt like this met in the middle of trying to reduce the half days, keeping the professional development days so that the teachers have an opportunity to do the things they need to do, and really just trying to meet all the needs. So we talked about it for a while, for sure, and I think that at the end, this felt comfortable-ish, so.
I think it makes sense because there was a little bit of backlash with the kids being in school with the second referendum. So this will work out where the kids won't be in school, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So it's 3 half days for a full day. That's a good deal, right? 3 half days of PD for a full day off.
Yeah. To be fair, I think that even with this one, there's going to need to be squeezing some PD in here a little bit in some pockets and some nooks and crannies, but from what I understand, it's fairly doable and shouldn't be a challenge. And again, if we have another bad winter, though, then, the school year gets extended. But, hopefully that's something that parents can hear and not schedule maybe the day after vacations, or just kind of know that there's a risk with that.
So in Brian's update, he included the years when the number of student days were reduced, as well as afternoon professional development days. Did you guys all have the opportunity to look over that? So we could see in 2012, we had 5 days. In 2013 to 2014, we had 7. 14 to 15, we had 10. And then 2015 through 2018, we had 12 days. And I was on the board then when we made the decision, and that's when Brian was assistant superintendent. We made the decision to reduce those because we were hearing about it from the community. So that we reduced 2018, 2019, we reduced to 8 days, and then 2019 to 2020 to 3, 2020 to 2021, 3. And I know those are the pandemic years, so that just might be an anomaly right there in itself. Then 21 to 22, we were at 4. 22 to 23, we had 5 days. 5 days the following year. Then in 24 to 25, we were up to 7. And then this year we were up to 8. And those are not counting the half days for conferences as well. So you add those in, and then we're, into double digits. And so, it seems like it's a few times a month there's a half day, and there's the financial constraints, and I think there's less flexibility with working from home now for a number of folks who do. They have to take PTO time or use vacation time to go get their kids. And I've heard a number of different things. I was at the Southington Drive-In the other night, bumped into 4 families, and that was the first thing I heard about were the half days. So, I know there is a lot of buzz, especially those who have elementary kids. That's where a lot of these conversations are occurring. But right now, with what we're proposing, that would bring us down to how many?
5.
Not counting conferences.
Correct.
So that would still bring us up to close to 10.
I think it would be 11 because there's 6.
11, yeah. So we're still in double digits with that.
But with the conferences, are all of them, I don't think all are school PD.
They're not, because the teachers have to have the conferences. But looking at it from the community aspects, right?
Yeah, the
looking
half-day
in,
part.
it's the half day. The parents don't care what the half day is for. It's, is my kid sitting at home on a tablet when I don't want my kid having screen time because they have to work? Or is it an additional expense? So I think us as a board, that's where we want to be responsive and thoughtful to the concerns that, are being expressed.
No, I mean, I agree with every point that's been brought up. This is definitely, I think you hear it, I hear it, because we're at the elementary level. And it's because of that age group, once again, that they can't be left alone.
I'm sure the high schoolers love it, right? Yeah, they like
I mean,
them.
I would love to hear their feedback as well. I also understand, as we were talking in the curriculum committee, there is work that needs to be done. There's only so much time in the day, in the year, but it seemed like it was doable to find some sort of balancing within the school day. I will have to say, in the curriculum committee, and I did hear this, I would say more often with my child this year, with their teacher being pulled out of the classroom to do PD during the day. That was a little new to me that I did not know. Once again, whatever rhyme or reason, but we're talking about kids in the classroom, instructional time, obviously a sub coming in for part of the day, versus even a half day where everything's shortened and you're kind of condensing everything. I mean, these all in different ways create different disruptions. Not meant to, but they do. I would like to hear it, though, from the high school.
I mean, I think what's laid out here is a good compromise.
What about our student representatives? How do the half-days work for you guys?
I bet they love them.
No. I really think it depends on the class you're in. When you're taking accelerated courses, half days can be kind of a burden. To know that you might have a test coming up, but the day before it's a half day, it cuts into a lot of study time or education time with note taking and stuff. But for a typical core class, it tends to just be a shortened version of work, and you might have a little homework with a document or some kind of assignment. So the only real disruption I truly see is in those accelerated honors AP courses, because there is a strict deadline to me. I know, especially in my AP psychology class, when we had all the snow days, there was a lot of cutting corners just to make sure we hit the right chapters at the right time during the school year. So that's really the only issue I see with the half days in high school.
I also agree with the accelerated courses part, because I also take AP psychology. Like she said, the snow days and the half days did make the curriculum very condensed. On half days, my teacher, he would be very strict with the timelines. We would just have a lot of work since we were preparing for the AP test. Especially for the AP curriculum, you do need to prepare for the AP tests, which are in the first 2 weeks of May. So the half days coming before that time is kind of hurtful, I guess, to the curriculum, since you do have to condense it a lot, and it doesn't give you a lot of time to prepare for the test.
Yeah, there's no wiggle room, and that's the big issue.
Thank you for that. All right, so anyone else? Peter, will you just stay for this vote?
Oh, sure.
Peter has to excuse himself. All right, moving to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Vote carries 9-0. And you can write that Peter left at 8:47 p.m. Have a great night, Peter. Okay. Moving on. Lost track. One sec. We're moving to the 27-28 school calendar, reflective of half-days on March 7th, April 6th, May 5th, due to the same concerns we just discussed, and that will leave us at 8 half-days. And again, if next year we feel like we're sitting in this position, hearing the similar feedback with the changes, we can always bring it back to the board table to make a change. But in the meantime, do we have a motion for consideration?
I move that the 2027-2028 school calendar be revised to eliminate afternoon professional development on March 7th, April 6th, and May 5.
Do we have a second? So the motion by Brian and the second by Christina. Any discussion? All right, we can move to a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The vote carries 9-0. 8-0, Peter left. Okay, thank you, everyone. Moving on to the policy review revision of, this is the first reading of policy 5112, admission to the public schools at or before age 5. So would you like to share a little bit about that?
Sure. The state in the last 2 years gave the option of 4-year-olds entering K if they were assessed and the district felt that they were ready for it. The state is now allowing us to say that 4-year-olds cannot enter K, and this new, so we're just changing our policy to align with the new state regulations, so it's just an update.
So at our next meeting, we will vote on that.
yep.
So if you have any questions, definitely share them, or next meeting we'll be able to discuss it after the motion's been made. All right, no action is taken on that. Moving on to school lunch pricing. So Ashley, would you like to come up?
You could read the motion.
Okay, well, it says Director of Finance and Operations, Ashley Dorsey, so. Oh, I'm sorry.
Because it says it's just self-explanatory.
So, we're here because we need to approve the cafeteria pricing for the upcoming school year. And I have put together a small presentation requesting a 15-cent increase to lunch prices, which is about 4.46% increase. The State Department of Education, or actually the federal grant that we receive our school funding for, has approved free breakfast, so we don't have to worry about that. So you could progress to the next slide, please. Thank you. So currently, it is $3.70 at the high school, $3.40 at the middle school, and $3.05 at the elementary schools. What I am proposing is the numbers in the red. As you can see, it's the 15-cent increase. Reasons for the need. So our expenses have increased throughout the years while revenues are going down. One of the biggest reasons for the revenues going down is we do not provide free lunch to all, so the federal reimbursement rate is maxed out for our free and reduced students, while our what we receive for the children who are considered paid students is much lower. In fiscal 21, 22, and 23, we were still getting the aftermath of the COVID reimbursements, where when we had those free lunches and breakfasts for all students, we were receiving the max reimbursement of about $4.68. Now, for our paid students, who is a majority of our sales, we don't receive more than, I believe it's $2.30 reimbursement. So some of the components that are contributing, there's a significant food cost in between the COVID years and what we would consider our normal operating years once we kind of transition back to the free, paid, and reduced models. But the other thing that we are seeing now in the later years is actually the salary and benefits line. We had to take a significant increase to the salaries for our food service program to not only meet the minimum wage requirements that the state imposed on us, but to also make us a competitive employer. Being a cafeteria worker, it's a hard schedule to find. It takes a very unique type of person to want to come in and do that kind of work, given that the schedule is limited. So we found, for success of the program, we did have to not only pay them minimum wage, but pay them a fair wage, and we had to increase their wages. And that is where we're seeing a majority of our increases for expenses. If you go to the next slide, this is just what we're trending. These are historical meals sold. The blue is the lunches, so you can see how we're trending up. And then as the free lunches no longer applied, we trend down. And the same goes for breakfast. We are hoping with the free breakfast for next year, we will get an increase in the cafeteria program in general. Sometimes kids would just be like, oh, I'm just gonna buy lunch if they're enjoying the breakfast. We're hoping to see an uptick in some of the meals sold with the free breakfast program. So those are some of the reasons why we need to take this increase. We also haven't had an increase in 3 years. So we've kind of absorbed some of those expenses, those differences in expenses as we've, through our union contracts, through our food costs and our equipment lines, we've absorbed it for the last 3 years, and we're at a point where we no longer can absorb that. So I'm just here. And oh yeah, there's the number, this is just information for yourself. We had an increase of the free and reduced students in fiscal '24, and it is trending back down. Historically, we've been around anywhere between 21 to 25% free and reduced population. And then this is my proposal. We could actually go up 30 cents more. However, rather than have that be in one fiscal year, the plan is to break that in, tier it in, to get us to where we need to be. There are some districts out there that are paying, where students are paying over $4 for lunch. I don't think we're there yet, but I would like to see an increase over the next couple of years to get us where we need to be.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. So before we go into discussion, do we have a motion for consideration? Thank you for that presentation. Do we have a motion?
Price increase for school lunches effective for the 2026-2027 school year, establishing the new meal rates at $3.85 at the high school level, $3.55 at the middle school level, and $3.20 for the elementary school level.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Brian, second by Jen. Any discussion? Hearing none, we can move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 8-0. Thank you, Ashley, for that, putting that whole report together. Okay, the last item is the board retreat date. So if everyone could just pull out their calendars so we can set a date for this board retreat. This is some important work that the board does in looking at our goals and, you know, establishing our important priorities. So do we want to look at August or July? I feel like sometimes we end up doing it right at the end of summer. I don't know if that's best. I'm sure, I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
Do you want
August 21st.
No, I was just going
That,
to throw out a date.
that works great for me. Does that not work for anybody? Does that date not work? Yes.
Historically, Fridays are a night, correct?
Yeah, Fridays are, they've seemed to work so far. Better than Saturday mornings. We used to have it on Saturday morning, after a Friday night. Let me tell you. Well, I don't think there was any. It was bad. We'll do like the 5 to 9, and then we could adjust as we get closer. Usually we usually say like 5, but start for 5:30, and then try and have a hard end by like 9, I think, right? Is that?
I think so.
Yeah, no, I feel like we always kind of start a little later if we know people.
I mean, I'm in Florida, but that's like 2 weeks before.
All right. So we'll go with that date. So everyone put in your calendar, and more to come. There's one last agenda item. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Do we have a second? So motion by Melissa, second by Gina. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 8-0. Motion adjourned at 8:58 p.m. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
That was quick. That was like the
Thank you. Have a great
small
night.
font at the